Welcome to Bike Comparos. Today we'll be comparing the KTM Duke 250 versus the 2017 Duke 390. Pricing and features. The KTM Duke 250 retails for 1.92 lakh rupees on road Delhi, which is 28,000 rupees cheaper than the Duke 390 costing 2.2 lakh rupees. Both bikes are equipped with rear disc brakes and a slipper clutch. The Duke 390 of course gets ABS, which is absent in the 250. It also gets LED headlamps and the full color TFT instrument cluster that is also missing from the 250. Performance and tractability. Interestingly, the Duke 250 has a longer stroke than the 390 in spite of having a 124cc smaller engine size. The 250 is still over square, that is, the bore is still bigger than the stroke, just that it is not as insanely over square as the Duke 390. As and when single-cylinder engines grow in size, they become increasingly lazy in terms of building the revs. This problem can be tackled by either increasing the number of cylinders or by increasing the bore and reducing the stroke. Having learned their lessons from the crazy single-cylinder Duke 690, KTM decided to go with the second option. The result was insane levels of performance with the least degree of complexity. Less complexity makes the Duke 390 over a lakh rupees cheaper than twin-cylinder 300s like the Ninja, the R3 and the TNT 300, and yet undeniably quicker and faster than them. To put things into perspective, consider the fact that the Duke 390 does 0 to 100 in just over 5 seconds, which is just as quick, if not quicker, than a Porsche Boxster. But then, it is not a bike that can be ridden carelessly. If you forget to downshift after slowing down for a corner, it snatches violently, although the addition of a slipper clutch and ride-by-wire throttle has seen a noticeable improvement in this regard. Lugging it along town at low revs feels like a punishment, and it tends to heat up quite rapidly during city commutes, resulting in grilled leg situations. The Duke 250 on the other hand is easily the best Duke to ride around town. It has excellent tractability at low revs and a muscular mid-range, giving it good all-round capabilities, be it while puttering around town, touring on the highways or hunting apexes around a mountain road. It does not have the raw thrust of the 390, but its power band is much more accessible and controllable than the 390. Its deeper, more guttural exhaust note is also just as pleasing to the ears as the high-pitched wail of the 390. Reliability and after-sales service. Truth be told, KTM has so far had a quite disappointing track record for reliability and service support in our country. Although it does fare better compared to other exotic bike makers from Europe like Ducati and Aprilia, in most cases the issues are just minor niggles and not really serious deal breakers. However, KTM service centers are mostly run by the same folks who own the local Bajaj dealership, which leaves a lot to be desired about the quality of workmanship and the ability to diagnose the faults. What makes it worse is that service and repair cost of the KTMs is also on the higher side, making the premium customers of the brand feeling a bit shortchanged. Fuel efficiency. In our back-to-back tests, the Duke 250 was almost 8 to 10 kmpl more efficient than the 390. Resale and cost of ownership. Second-hand Duke 390s retail for around 1.2 lakh rupees in the used bike market today. The Duke 250 is expected to hold marginally lesser resale value than that 5 to 7 years down the line, while the 390 is also expected to depreciate slightly faster since it will become more commonplace in the coming years. Overall, the Duke 250 works out to be a notable 60,000 rupees lighter on the pocket than the 390 in terms of overall ownership cost. Handling and ride quality. Both bikes share the exact same cycle parts, including the frame, suspension, and most of the other paraphernalia. However, there are a few crucial differences. Firstly, the 390 gets the insanely sticky Metzeler tires, while the 250 gets MRF revs. Secondly, the 390 is set up slightly stiffer than the 250. Both these factors combined make the 390 more grippier and sharper around the bends. The 390 also gets bigger brakes and of course the ABS, which makes it safer and inspires more confidence under hard braking. Comfort and ergonomics. There is absolutely no difference between the riding position of both these bikes. Overall, the riding position is slightly forward set and those wide handlebars give the rider a commanding feeling over the bike. However, the aforementioned difference in ride quality makes the Duke 250 slightly more fatigue-free over broken roads. The 390 compensates by offering a better view from the rider's seat thanks to its gorgeous speedo console. That brings us to the verdict. It all boils down to personal choice when it comes to choosing between these two bikes. If you are the kind of a rider who cares about any kind of absolute numbers like lap times or quarter mile drag times, someone who needs his bike to compensate for the lack of riding skills on track meets or even Sunday morning group rides, or someone who simply needs some one-upmanship over his friends at the pub, then the 390 is the bike for you. But if you care more about how you feel while riding the bike than just street cred or dry numbers, if you care more about which bike feels faster, if you care about which bike has a more telepathic throttle control, if you care more about which bike sounds sweeter, if you care more about which bike feels right deep inside which appeals to your coccyx, the Duke 200 is the one for you. Yes, you heard that right. The 200 is still the best of the three Dukes, but the 250 is the second best, a very close second to the 200. We know that most number hungry bean counters will never agree with or even understand our verdict, but it is what it is, period.